Welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you once again for jumping on tonight. Let me just bring my friends from the other platforms together along with us. All right. So, thank you once again for joining the Sonia Dungy podcast, where we are celebrating Black History Month all month long. This is episode number 116. Yes, 116. I cannot believe it. And it is sponsored by Always Destined for Greatness LLC. I am your host, Sonia Dungy. And thank you once again for joining tonight. It is still an honor and a deep seated privilege for me to be a part of this celebration of African American history and culture, recognizing the struggles and the resilience while highlighting the innovations and achievements made. So tonight I present to you Grace Wisher. Now, Grace Wisher, she was a freeborn Black girl from Baltimore, Maryland. And she was instrumental in stitching the Star Spangled Banner during the 6-year apprenticeship. She began alongside, and I did say alongside, Mary Pickersgill, and that was around 1810. So, in the conventional telling of the story, Mary, her daughter, Caroline, and one of her nieces all received the recognition for sewing the Star Spangled Banner. The most popular, not the first, but the most popular U.S. Flag. So it later inspired Francis Scott Key, which was a slaveholder and colonizationist, to write the national anthem. So imagine that. So he was inspired by the Star Spangled Banner flag to be able to write the national anthem. But unfortunately for Grace, she was not recognized for her contributions. Interesting. So, if you're going to tell the whole history of the US, we must first be reintroduced to Grace Wish. And in that historical conversation of the creation of the Star Spangled Banner, we must shed light on how Black women and girls have been the heart of the nation's story since the very beginning. So 3 years into Grace's apprenticeship, which we're going to get into later about the apprenticeship, Mary Pickersgill was commissioned to create the Star Spangled Banner in celebration of the U.S. victory against Great Britain in the War of 1812. Now, before the creation of the Star Spangled Banner, many Americans did not hang their flags to showcase their national pride. Now, if you remember, I said it in the beginning that the Star Spangled Banner was not the first flag. So there was a previous flag, and they did not hang that flag and show their pride. It wasn't until 1820 where approximately 10,326, yes, I said 10,326 free Black Baltimoreans were in the Baltimore, Maryland area. As the years progressed, Baltimore would boast of the largest free Black population in the country. The largest in the country. So Grace, she was amongst the free Black population until her mother, Jenny Wisher, apprenticed her. Now, remember I told you, hold on to the apprentice. Now we're going to talk about that, which when I was doing my research, I was surprised. I mean, we hear apprenticeship as, somebody who is underneath a master of the craft and they're learning. This has a different meaning of apprenticeship. You ready for this? I don't know if you're ready for this, but if you are, so here we go. So, according to the books that have been written, okay, that's all we have to go by. Grace's mother received $20, $20 at the signing of the contract. She was then guaranteed another $12 at the end of her daughter's 6 years of service. So, in other words, she stand to gain a total of $32, 20 plus 12, as long as her daughter continued the 6-year apprentice. So she was going to wait for that $12 more in 6 years. So it was assumed that Grace was sold into apprenticeship due to poverty. During this time, children of impoverished households would contribute to the family income. And many, both white and Black, working class population sold their children as apprentices to offset some of the expenses of having multiple children in the household. So they sold off their children to gain money to be able to pay for the rest of the children in the household. So many Black women were head of the household, either because they were widowed, their husbands were enslaved, or their husbands couldn't find work. Working as domestic servants did not contribute sufficiently. So it didn't bring in enough income for them to be able to survive and to be able to take care of everyone in the household. So they had to make a very difficult decision. So it was sell children as apprentices, sign a contract for X amount of years. In this instance, it was 6 years with Mary Pickering's. And then at the end of the 6 years, her mother would get the rest of the money, and then the apprenticeship would be over. So at 10 years of age, Grace wasn't old enough to work for wages. So the question now becomes, you ready for this? So the question now becomes, why has Grace's contributions been absent from any history books? That's a great question now, isn't it? In case you missed it, or you're still trying to process it, the question becomes, why has Grace's contributions been absent from history books? The answer? Because of her inferior status in American society. She had 3 strikes against her. 3 strikes. 1, she was considered poor. 2, she was Black. 3, she was a girl. 3 strikes. Poor Black girl. They all played a role in silencing her contributions to such an important task. How sad is that? What cannot be erased, I tell you, is a young Black girl's labor that was equally vital in creating the image of the United States, a task that took 6 long weeks to complete. 6 weeks. It has been said that there was another unnamed slaved Black girl who helped stitch the banner as well. So Grace didn't get any credit for it. And she was a free Black girl. Well, free from slavery as we knew it. But her mother then sold her as an apprentice for 6 years. And I'm not putting down her mother in any way. I mean, I'm sure it was hard as a mother to do, and she had to do what she had to do. But these are things that we don't hear. We've never heard this before. At least I haven't. I don't remember reading it in any history book anywhere. So, it has been said, Black women and girls, like Grace, have literally stitched themselves into our nation's history. Mainstream historical accounts continuously overlook their contributions. And that was quoted by historians Dana Berry and Callie Gross. So I want to thank you all for joining, whether you watch the replay later or what have you. If you find value, please drop a V for value. If you were able to relate to something, if you learned something new, please let me know, because I'm very interested in hearing this. And thank you for always in tuning in. This concludes tonight's celebration, Black History all month long. I also want to announce that tomorrow, I know I've been doing pop-ups, and the pop-ups are going to continue each episode, different times of the day, the night, etc. We have 28 in all to do. But tomorrow, I have a special treat for you at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to be having a guest speaker, our special guest, Miss Tenille Stewart. And we are going to have a great episode, to say the very least. And she will be spotlighting the heavyweight boxer, Alex Stewart. So I'm super excited about that. I've been doing research there too. Very interesting subject matter we will be talking about tomorrow. And who better to tell it than from Tenille herself. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Sonia Dungy podcast, we're excited about this as well. We are going to have a special guest. Miss Ashley Major will be in the house, and we are going to be talking about what we've been talking about, and that is resilience. So make sure you tune in to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow as well. So once again, thank you so much. I appreciate you all as always. I never expect anything less from any of you. Be safe, stay well. God bless you all. And remember, be always destined for greatness, your very best. Bye for now.